All right, so now we're just going to go over some of the answers on this worksheet. Hopefully you've already tried them, and this is just to make sure that you got it right. So, first of all, what we need to do is just realize that I'm asking to find the value of each variable in these questions. Next, what you need to do is determine whether or not these triangles are similar before you move forward. For this case, we're going to assume they're all similar, but in the future, you really need to make sure that they're similar before you do your scale factors and check for proportionality. So I've got angle, 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 matching with 1, 1, 2, angle, angle, angle. So that means that these two are similar, so I could write that triangle ABC is similar to triangle DEF, which lets me do what I'm about to do right now. So, because I want to find F, I'm going to go from whatever this is here to that point right over there. So I want to do 5 times some scale factor gets me to F. I don't know what that scale factor is though, except I do have the fact that 3.5 in this triangle goes to 2.5 in that triangle. Well, I've got two parts of it, I'm just missing the scale factor. So 3.5 times some scale factor is going to get me to 3.5, and it'll be that same scale factor that I can multiply by 5 to get me the value of F. Well, I've got 3.5 times, let's say, S for scale factor gets me to, from this triangle over here, 3.5 times the scale factor gets me to 2.5. All right, well, now I'm going to find S, so I'll just divide both sides by 3.5. I'm left with S is equal to 2.5 divided by 3.5. 2.5 divided by 3.5, I think I already had that on the calculator, is 7.14. Let's start with that. Or sorry, it's 0.714. Scale factor is equal to 0.714. So I can start right over here by saying, all right, I found my scale factor is 0.714. Well, now I can just say, hey, 5 times that same scale factor will get me F. So I can say 5 times 0.714 gets me 3.57. So 5 times 0.714 gets me that F is 3.57. And that's it for this question. Let's check the next one. This next one, if you saw in the regions, you couldn't assume that it was two similar triangles because they don't give you the angle measures here. For this case, we're just going to say, okay, these two are similar. So I've got the length of this side. It looks like these are the corresponding sides because this is my obtuse angle. This is the obtuse angle here. It looks like 4 is matching up with side HG is matching up with KJ here. So I've got 4 times some scale factor gets me to 5. So 4 times S equals 5. I'll find out what S is. Sorry, divide both sides by 4. I get my scale factor S is either equal to 5 over 4, 5/4, or if I want to plug that into the calculator, 5 divided by 4 gets me 1.25 equals 1.25. Well, I've got my scale factor. I've got what I'm starting with, 3.6. So I can just multiply 3.6 times the scale factor that I found, and that will get me K. So 1.25 is the scale factor. So then I'll just write 3.6 times 1.25, and that gets me my missing side K. 3.6 times 1.25, I don't see that coming up too well in there. That gets me 4.5 right over here. And if I want, I can put these guys into ratios to see if it works out. I can say, all right, 4 over 5, does that equal to the same. So I started with 4 over 5, so I'll start with 3.6 over 4.5. 3.6 over 4.5. These should all be proportional, which means they should all make equal fractions. So 4 divided by 5, let's try that out. 4 divided by 5 is 0.8. And let's check. 3.6 divided by 4.5 is 0.8. Because these two are equal, it means that these two are similar because my sides should be proportional. The fractions that I make out of my sides should be equal when I have similar triangles. And they do. So that means we got this one right. Let's move on to the next question over here. Now this one gets kind of interesting because I've got, actually this one's not quite the interesting one, but we're going to have to remember something about right triangles in a minute moving forward. I do have a right triangle here. I've got right, 2 hash marks to 2 and 3 hash marks to 3. These guys are similar, so I can move forward with this. All right, I've got that the 5 is what I'm starting out with, and that is going to the 8, which is that corresponding side over there. So I need to find the scale factor that gets me from 5 to 8. And once I have that scale factor, I can just say, hey, Q times that same scale factor gets me to 7. So there's not enough room in this one. Let's move over back to our other sheet over here. I had 5 times some scale factor gets me to 8. So 5 times some scale factor gets me to 8. Simple algebra, divide both sides by 5. I'm left with S is either equal to 8/5, or if I want to rewrite it, I can say 8 divided by 5 is equal to 1.6. All right. So now that I have my scale factor, I can say, hey, Q times that scale factor gets me 7. So Q times that scale factor, which was 1.6, should set me equal to 7. Well, I don't have Q by itself. I'll divide both sides by 1.6 to get rid of that 1.6. And I'm left with Q is equal to 7 over 1.6. Let's get that in decimal form. 7 divided by 1.6 is equal to 4.375. 4.375. And that's our answer. I found that Q is equal to 4.375. And that's because 4.375 times the scale factor that I found before gets me to 7. So Q over here we can write as equal to 4.375. Now, this is the really interesting question on here because I've got 2 to 2, right to right, 3 to 3. These are similar. And I have that I'm going from 5 on WX times some scale factor gets me to 9.6. But I've got a problem. I've got 3 matching up with TS over here. But I don't want to find this side length. I want to find this side length. I want to find T. So this 3 I can't multiply by the same scale factors here because that's going to get me this side. I need to find out what this side is first before I can move over to T. Luckily though, we have that these two are right triangles, which lets me use the Pythagorean theorem. If you remember that, that is a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. So I've got C is my longest side opposite from my right angle. So this is my C. And using that, I can say, hey, I've got 3 squared plus something squared equals 5 squared. That can get me this. I can find that scale factor. Then I can use that scale factor to multiply this and find T. It's a couple steps, but it's really nothing too out of this world or crazy. So let's start out by finding the side that we need to start with it. All right? So I've got 3 squared plus, I don't know, squared will get me 5 squared because it's a right triangle. 3 squared plus b squared, we'll keep it as a Pythagorean theorem, is equal to 5 squared. So I've got 9 is plus b squared is equal to 25. Keep solving for b. I'll subtract 9 from both sides. I'm left with b squared is equal to 25 minus 9 is 16. To get rid of the squared, I'll find the square root here. But if I do the square root on the left side, got to do square root on the right side. The square root cancels with the squared. And so I'm left with b is equal to 4. So that is the answer to what is the length of this side right over here. We just found that that is 4. Now I need to find the scale factor that I'm using to go from 5 to 9.6. So 5 times my scale factor gets me 9.6. Well, we'll just do that on this side over here. 5 times some scale factor gets me, what was it again? 9.6. Well, again, simple algebra question. Divide both sides by 5. I'm left with s is equal to 9.6 divided by 5, which is 1.92. 1.92. That's my scale factor, so I can write that in over here. 1.92 is equal to my scale factor. So now I've got, hey, 4 times that same scale factor is going to get me t, finally. So I've got 4 times my scale factor, which we just found, times 1.92 is equal to t. I'll just plug that into my calculator to figure it out. 4 times 1.92. 4 times 1.92. T I find is equal to 7.68. 7.68 looks like it's the side of my larger triangle. So T is equal to 7.68.